This is CBC Vancouver News.
And one of the coyotes grabbed her dog's jacket.
In a statement, the Vancouver Park Board says it's denning season for coyotes. The animals may act more boldly as they protect their dens where their pups are born. Trafalgar Park is popular with animals and kids. Conservation officers are reminding everyone to take precautions.
Push this to the side and then you're able to spray.
Lund has bought a dog and coyote deterrent spray and plans to attach a whistle to her keychain for future walks.
Yeah, I'm a little bit anxious to be out in the area right now.
The park board says if you see a coyote, do not approach it, face the coyote and slowly back away. If the animal approaches, make yourself big, stand tall with your arms stretched and yell. Do not turn your back or run, as coyotes have a natural instinct to chase what they believe is prey, and always report the encounter to 311. In August 2021, a coyote bit a 5-year-old child in Stanley Park, one of several attacks in the same area that summer. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
One of the Lower Mainland's marquee summer events is slated to return this July. Honda's Celebration of Light fireworks is set to illuminate the sky over English Bay. The pyrotechnics are set for July 22nd, 26th, and 29th. This year's competitors have not yet been announced. The festival is one of the province's largest public events. Last year, more than 400,000 people were estimated to attend. The ski season in Mount Washington on Vancouver Island has already ended, but snow still coming down.
Another hour, you won't see where I've been, but...
Another spring blast piled up and hid buildings after an already snowy winter there. Storms like this are more common in mid-January than mid-April. Places like Highway 28, about 20 minutes west of Campbell River, experienced full winter driving today.
Not the depths of winter, but we are seeing some snowfall at the higher elevations. Pretty much anything over 300 meters is getting snow right now. So that'd be sort of out Gold River way up the Sitka Summit towards Port McNeill.
So far this month has been cold, 15 of 17 days below average in the Comox Valley. And the trees there are a bit slow to bud. Those that have blossomed are dropping the only white most of us want to see in the ground. Joe will have your full weather forecast later in the show. Speaking of blossoms, the Sakura Days Japan Fair has returned to Van Dusen Botanical Garden to celebrate spring and the beauty of cherry blossoms. Have a look.
This is the 18th year of the festival, and this event has been going pretty early. I want to say this is the 12th year for this event itself, and it's sort of steadily grown every year. But the main idea is that it's all Canadian Japanese and Japanese companies, artists, vendors, all full of Japanese traditional culture as well as contemporary. The origins of this event is to, the cherry blossoms were a gift from the people of Japan, so several different cities in Japan in the 1930s gifted some cherry blossoms to Vancouver to commemorate the Canadian Japanese who had died in World War I. So this event is to acknowledge that original gift and sort of that ongoing friendship between Vancouver and Japan, but also to celebrate the culture that gives us these trees and all the different culture that goes around that, from haiku to hanami to different sort of cultural things that are connected to spring happening. Kind of doesn't feel too much like spring yet today, but certainly the blossoms are telling us that.
You need to be at your best.
Hundreds of BC athletes had Olympic gold in their eyes this weekend. UBC played host to an Olympic scouting competition. We'll take you in the gym after this. And hello to everyone watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. A little delayed, but that's okay. 3 days of meetings for the Association of Vancouver Island and Coastal Communities wrapped up on Sunday. Delegates from more than 50 regions gathered in Nanaimo for that meeting. As Claire Palmer tells us, the final day focused on reconciliation and how cities and towns play a role in reconciliation.
Reconciliation and relationship building. That was the focus on day 3 for delegates at the Convention for Island and Coastal Communities.
Lower your cards, all those opposed.
Representatives from over 50 regions gathered in Nanaimo to listen, learn, and take action.
It was amazing. The room was just intent on listening to what was said, and there was inspiration that came from the speeches that came from the panel, and really looking forward to reconciliation.
Panelists gave insights on how local governments can start conversations with their Indigenous neighbors, as well as how difficult the road has been for First Nations and how municipalities can finance reconciliation. These are options that all communities possess, both big and small. Participants say it was an opportunity to collaborate with counterparts from across the island.
The diversity of motions that we explored was fantastic. So everything from housing to water conservation, forestry, and it was really insightful to talk to different colleagues from across the region to get their different perspectives.
Among the dozens of resolutions passed, Teal lobbied eagerly for the province to give municipalities the power to implement traffic speed cameras. His resolution from Saanich will be brought to the Union of BC Municipalities for further consideration. Other resolutions ranged from extreme weather response to housing.
There was a whole block of amazing resolutions, some really fulsome debate, and I was really excited to see colleagues from across the region.
Next year's convention will be held in Victoria. It will be the 75th edition of the convention. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
Several hundred BC athletes took their shots to move a step closer to Olympic dreams this weekend, all part of a scouting competition held at UBC on Sunday. Our Saurabh Sandhu has that story.
For these hopeful athletes, it's a chance to show off their skills for a shot at one day making it to the Olympics.
You're going up against some of the best people in Canada, and so you need to be at your best.
More than 350 athletes from Greater Vancouver showcased their skills at UBC's War Memorial Gymnasium. It's a part of RBC's training ground, a program designed to scout Canada's Olympic talent.
The goal is to hopefully see them wearing the maple leaf for Canada in the Olympics.
The program tests athletes on 4 criteria: speed, power, strength and endurance. And the results can mean life-changing opportunities for these athletes.
We've developed a series of tests that we put the athletes through, and we collect that data. And then we look to see if there's things in the data that tell us that the athlete might be better suited to a particular sport.
The program partners with several national sports organizations. Over the last 7 years, more than 1,600 athletes have been identified. Several have made it to Olympics. Gold medalist Avalon Vastanese was one of them.
I was already in rowing, but I was looking for more support, specifically financial support, because obviously being an athlete can be an expensive thing. And when you're also trying to balance school on top of it, it's a lot.
17 scouting events will be held across the country, and the best athletes will be invited to national final to be held in fall.
The key here is we're uncovering potential, and we have no idea who's coming through the door today. We hope some future medalists will be at this event today.
Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Vancouver.
There's a live shot of Georgia Street. We had rain, we had wind, we had reasons to be inside on the South Coast today. Johanna Wagstaffe will have your BC-wide weather forecast right after this. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation has stopped posting its news on Twitter for now. The pause is because of a new label the social media company has slapped on the CBC. That happened days after a tweet by a Canadian politician. Thomas Dagle explains.
Canada's public broadcaster says it won't be tweeting for now, amid a spat over its funding and editorial independence. At issue is Twitter's move to tag CBC's corporate page as government-funded media, a label demanded by the leader of the opposition when Pierre Poilievre told Twitter's owner, Elon Musk, Canadians need to be protected against disinformation and manipulation by state media.
The fact that he has to run to American billionaires for support to attack Canadians says a lot about Mr. Poilievre and his values.
The news continues here, of course, on BBC One.
Twitter recently started applying similar labels to broadcasters like Britain's BBC and U.S. National Public Radio. BBC fought the move and got its label changed to publicly funded. According to Twitter's own definition, when an outlet is tagged government funded, it means there may be varying degrees of government involvement over editorial content. Just the type of perception that media outlets want to avoid, says this former editor.
News organizations that are funded in that way need to have a very firm arm's length relationship and be able to say we are independent and we are trusted.
Through a parliamentary appropriation, CBC and the French-language Radio-Canada receive more than $1 billion a year in public funding. But the Broadcasting Act states the corporation remains editorially independent of the government.
CBC has no track record being a propaganda tool of Canadian government in any time of the history.
The Crown Corporation insists its journalism is impartial. CBC says it reached out to Twitter and will pause its use of the platform to share news with its audience. Thomas Dagle, CBC News, Toronto.
We're sharing really important information with the public, and I feel like this is exactly what our job is, especially as the public broadcaster, especially in morning radio. That's incredibly important.
Land Back is a CBC original podcast where we uncover land theft in Canada and look at how Indigenous people are taking it all back.
And that's what empowered nations and empowered people to just literally steal land.
This is a consequence of your actions.
And it's time to give land back.
Land Back is out now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
The Doxa Documentary Film Festival returns May 4th to 14th. Enjoy thoughtful and engaging documentaries, special presentations, industry events, and more. Get your tickets at doxafestival.ca and get inspired by the magic, power, and beauty of choral singing as over 200 voices join and soar through the air at the Corleone's Van Man Summit concert on May 13th. For tickets, visit corleone.org.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Time for our BC-wide weather forecast with meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe. Joe, it's Monday. Plus ça change, rain and wind.
Oh, oui, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know you spoke Spanish.
Trey, all of that. Yes, very much. It is very wet across the south coast, thanks to the same low pressure system that has been really directing our weather, well, for all of spring 2023, but particularly this weekend. Let me show you what it looks like on the satellite and radar. The low very close to the Pacific Northwest, the center just offshore, and it's spinning in these pinwheels. You can really see those bands of showers being swept up towards Metro Vancouver. So we're seeing downpours replaced by maybe a hint of blue sky. That low pressure system is also cold, and that's why temperatures have been 5 to 7 degrees below seasonal across the south coast. Here's a look at the highs for tomorrow. Struggling to hit those double digits. And keep in mind, for this time of the year, seasonals based on our 1981 to 2010 averages are around 16 for Metro Vancouver. Yep, we usually are up around 16. By the way, Environment and Climate Change Canada hinting that their updated seasonals for the last decade will be released this spring. So I will keep you posted. It's not just the West Coast. Everyone across the country returning to a below seasonal pattern. Those 30-degree temperatures are gone from the lower Great Lakes. So the jet stream really riding low right now for the country. Speaking of low, that low pressure system is actually retrograding a little bit, which is why we hope Thursday and Friday we'll see some clearing, although another system moves back in for Friday. So we're going to have to kind of play it day by day. So tomorrow, that low pressure system looking to bring some instability to pretty much the whole province. That means the risk of an afternoon thunderstorm. Now, for us in Metro Vancouver, our spring thunderstorms really mean chance of hail. They're cold thunderstorms, but Dan, look at that. Cool, unsettled. We'll fight for the sunshine each day.
April showers. We're gonna come up with a poem that's updated for this.
We do need a meteorologically updated. Yeah, I'll work on it.
All right, that's this week's project. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
That is your late news for Monday, on a slightly later because of hockey, so we appreciate you sticking around for us. For news anytime, visit our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning or a little after that at 5 o'clock. I will be off the show until Thursday, but please join us again tomorrow. Good night.